Yes, indeed. It remains one of the most exciting and anticipated breakfast TV shows in Nigeria. Every single second filled with absolutely amazing content. Now, we, of course, are the numero uno. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of your feel-good breakfast show, Wake Up Nigeria. Now, we have some really good vibes coming your way in fabulous 3 hours of loads of stuff lined up for you. And as usual, we've carefully curated the show for your viewing pleasure. Now, we need to make sure that you're right there because today, after so long, our chefs are going to be resuming. We have a chef that's going to resume in our kitchen today for the first time after about, was it 10 weeks? Probably more than 10 weeks of having a chef in the studio. So we're changing things up little by little. We have Chef Toluwani of Tasty Paradise joining us in the kitchen this morning. I'm excited. We're gonna have the kitchen fired up again. My name is Titilayo Oyinson. And well, hey, we're streaming this show live just for you, tvcentertainment.tv and on Facebook at TVC Connect. You can always send in comments, contributions. Let's hear what you think about the chef and what she's cooking today. You can use our hashtag #WakeUpNigeria on TVC. And well, as long as you have our app, which is available for download on Android or iOS, you can always watch this show and so many other great shows on TVC from anywhere in the world. So, man, Mike.
Rainy or drizzly?
Well,
Tuesday morning.
It was actually a little heavier earlier in the morning.
No, my own was just voking. No, it's not the
noise of it.
I felt like there was going to be a downpour, like torrential downpour. But I don't know. I think it's my area.
Maybe.
So I've heard some. I don't know. Have you ever confirmed any what they call them now? Any myth or something?
On
you
what?
know, any urban myth.
Oh,
yeah, let's look at urban myth or urban legends.
You can never really confirm these things.
There's one I confirmed. Though.
Which one? Which one did you confirm?
So
which one?
There's this particular area. They say our place in vernacular, the whole rain for there.
Oh, okay.
So normally
this is where we're going.
It rains in this area, and you have a lot of people that will probably be displaced.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
You have a lot of people, and because of the terrain, you understand. So what happens is that all over Lagos, it might be raining, but
in
this area, I am telling you,
really,
over across 4, 5, 6 years, like when it rains, it has rained maybe the whole of Nigeria. When it rains there.
It's just
I'm
very
just
little.
saying, just an urban myth or an urban legend and all of that. So
you know, there are always those myths. So the ones that I really tried to do some research on were the pregnancy myths. The one that they say if the tummy is sticking out this way, it's a boy, and if it's going down, it's a girl, or something. Yeah, that one was the one that I really did some research into. And well,
what did you come out?
So you know, Oyinbo will say it does depend on the body of the mom. Right, the kind of body the mom has and all that, that will determine where the baby's gonna hold, you know, position, and then how many babies are in there in the first place. So are you telling me if there's like 4 inside, still stick forward? No. So when it comes to exactly, but I can't say that, you know, there are a lot of superstitions like so there's some things I never do, like I never walk under a ladder. Have you ever heard that one? They say never walk under a ladder.
Under a ladder,
yeah. And then
I think I've heard something like that. Yeah.
And then don't look into a broken mirror. Have you heard that one before?
That one, all our phones are broken, and we are looking into them.
I'm saying a broken mirror. Okay, so they say don't look into a broken mirror. Or so don't even break a mirror. That breaking a mirror is like 7 years bad luck or something like that.
The one?
That one I heard. That one I freaked out
the one
about.
that's still around the world. It's somehow is meeting your doppelganger.
Oh, someone that looks like you?
Yeah.
Have you done that before?
Okay, so I think this was a long time back, but it was on a film cover. So.
Someone that looked like you.
I'm telling you, man.
Wow.
I feel like it's supposed to be some sort of omen. At times it portends evil. At times, according to urban legends, it portends evil. And then sometimes it could even be good luck. But it is more like if it's possible, try to avoid meeting your doppelganger. I know
Seriously?
the doppelganger stuff is where you've seen Vampire Diaries.
Oh.
That's one of the underlying plot themes of that series. You know,
Okay.
being
So we're not trying to freak people out here.
No, we're not freaking. But the point
But-
is, I think everybody does. At least you should have one doppelganger. I know what I'm saying. I've seen too many people at two different places.
I have like 2 or 3 people that I've met. One of them was even in the industry, in the media industry before. That they would actually accuse me of seeing, like people would say, oh, I saw you at the mall, you looked at me and you didn't say hi.
Hi.
And I'm like, okay, so there's one of 2 things. Maybe I couldn't actually see you, because not a lot of people know that my eyesight is very good in Jesus' name.
Okay.
And then it might be that it was her in the mall that day, and it wasn't me.
It wasn't you. As in, it happened.
It happens.
I went into this federal agency, and while I was sitting waiting, so there are these 2 guys. I think one works there, another one is a contract. So both of them are not always there at the same time, right? And then as both of them are there, so on that particular day, 2 of them now met, and I was sitting down in that federal agency that day, and then both of them just go like, oh, and I look at them, very big. One is bigger than one. Both of them are big. One is bigger than one. Alike. But man, the resemblance is uncanny.
Wow.
All right?
Okay. So there are quite a few. We would love to know what your favorite myths are, the things you don't do. So for instance, I don't walk under ladders you can never, as in I would rather go back. Yeah, tell us yours and use our hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC. Let's hear from you. I'll be taking the news update at this point, and the report from the ministerial task team on the mysterious deaths recorded in Kano State between April and early May, which totals 979, shows that between 50 to 60% of the deaths may have been triggered by or due to COVID-19. Minister of Health Osage Ohanire revealed this during Monday's presidential task force briefing on COVID-19. He said the task team's visit was also extended to fact-finding excursions to offer support to 5 other states. He added that the federal intervention also helped in stopping infections among health workers in those northern states. While more than 150 health workers had been infected at the time of their arrival, there was no report of an infection among health workers who had received training on infection prevention and control, thus restoring confidence. Meanwhile, the secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, says the number of laboratories in the COVID-19 network increased from 2 to 30, with over 80,000 tests conducted in the country. Training of over 13,000 health workers have been ramped up, as well as the procurement of personal protective equipment and ventilators across the country. In his remarks, the Minister of State for Education, Emeka Nwajuba, disclosed that schools may reopen in the country after the ban on interstate movement has been lifted. The government said that it was being careful not to lead Nigerians into danger as Nigeria continues to record increase in cases. As calls for an end to gender-based violence continue, another case of rape has surfaced in Delta State. The police there have say they have arrested the General Overseer of Victory Revival Fasting and Prayer Ministry, Elijah Oronigbe, for allegedly raping a 19-year-old girl, Miss Miracle Omalo. She said she was sexually abused under the pretense of delivering her from a magical spell cast on her.
According to what she said, that the pastors had a dream that death is moving in their house. You understand me? Death is moving around the house, that for peace to reign, let her go and bring that daughter by name Miracle for prayers and for deliverance. So I think the woman brought the lady to the church and to the pastor, and I think what really happened, the pastor drugged that lady and raped her, because I personally took the lady to the hospital and she was in coma for 2 days.
No rape her. She came to church on that faithful day on the 20th of May. The mother brought her to the church for deliverance, and I prayed for her in front of altar, present of 3 people. So immediately after the prayer, at about, he left the church to 12. He came back 5 o'clock with policemen and crowd pointing finger at me, and other people pointing finger at me. This is the rapist, this is the rapist. If I did not rape her.
That special miracle Now God say, okay, I can't go naked. Since I use my arm, make it touch my womb. See if you touch my womb, I can't that's a pass. I don't know what happen again. First, don't say, only remember, I say, turn your back. See, I turn my back. I say, turn back. And I remember, I say, don't get up, say, they'll come. I say, get up, say, come.
Please, on the 20th of May 2020 is condemnable in all ramifications. And we are ready to follow the matter to its logical conclusion.
Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress has displayed the credentials of all 6 governorship aspirants seeking the party's ticket ahead of the Edo State election. The 6 aspirants who have brought completed and submitted the party's expression of interest and nomination forms are Osage Ize-Yamu, Godwin Obaseki, Pius Odubu, Chris Ogiemoi, Osaro Obazi, and Matthew Odore Kemen. A statement signed by its National Publicity Secretary, Lanre Issa Onilu, said last Friday that the various submissions will be displayed at the party's National Secretariat in Abuja and in Benin City, the Edo State capital, from Monday 8th to Tuesday 9th of June 2020 for claims and objections. And that's what we have time for on the news updates for this hour. We'll be taking a quick break now, and then it's time for sports. Yes, it's time for the headlines in the dailies at this point. And I'm going to be starting with the Punch newspaper. The headline is like this. It says 50% of Kano 979 strange deaths caused by coronavirus, says federal government. COVID-19 pandemic just beginning in Nigeria, declares PTF. Southeast should have more cases over residents' mobility, NCDC says there. And at the top of the page there, it says COVID-19 loans will be dispersed 48 hours after approval, according to CBN. On Taraba killings, outrage as Malami spares army mastermind, others soldiers trial. Doctors to begin nationwide strike next week. In the photo story there, it shows Abeokuta, Lagos and Ibadan anti-rape protesters on Monday. Assembly to summon Fayose over Ekiti finances. Father of 3 jailed for duping American ladies. Akeredolu supporters accuse aspirants of doctoring register. And Nigerian returnees to pay for airfares accommodation, says federal government. And federal government declares Friday, June 12th, Democracy Day holiday. That's what we have on the cover of the Punch. Now let's see what we have on the cover of the Nation newspaper. It says here, government worried about breach of rules by churches, mosques. Nigerians still at risk of coronavirus infection. 60% of the 979 deaths in 8 Kano councils, COVID-related. Let me read this out. It says, we urge our religious leaders and the entire populace to adhere to the guidelines issued by the PTF and the protocols agreed by the state governments. Of course, there is the global case number here of COVID-19, and it stands today at 7,161,517 cases recorded. Meanwhile, 407,210 people have died. Some good news, 3,499,299 people have recovered. Meanwhile, in Nigeria, the COVID-19 cases has risen to 12,801 cases officially recorded. Meanwhile, the deaths recorded here stand at 361. I'll wrap it with this one. It says, no NEC meeting before Edo primary, says APC. Courts says maintain status quo. PDP not keen on Obaseki, Akeredolu's deputy. That's what we have on the cover of the Nation. Now let's see if we can take the Guardian newspaper next. It says here, illegal gold mining rips Nigeria of forex revenue. Nation's gold dominates Dubai market, says NMGS. How illegal mining paralyzes agricultural activities. Chinese engaging in illicit price competition, says MAN. We are investing to dismantle Nigeria, IPOB warns presidency. Members predict fresh manhunt as Ohaneze cautions federal government on backlash. Moving straight to the bottom of the page here, doctors to begin nationwide strike June 15th. Buhari nominates Dongban Mensen as substantive appeal court president. And I'll wrap with this one. Drunken police sergeant kills colleague in Lagos. The Vanguard is coming up next, and it has this headline: Edo, confusion, drama, trail legal tussle for APC ticket. Journalists barred as Obaseki or Shomole's camps claim contrary decisions. Court adjourned suit to June 11th. Let me see, right at the top here on kidnapping, federal government docks Wadumi, 6 others on amended 13-count charge. On Democracy Day, federal government declares June 12th public holiday. And former Lagos CP Abubakar Sav dies at 82. And that's how I wrap it up on this one for the Vanguard. Let me see, the Nigerian Tribune is here as well, packed with headlines as usual. Schools reopening. Federal government meets WAEC, NECO, NABTEB. 60% of the 979 Kano mysterious deaths due to COVID-19, according to federal government, as I mentioned earlier from some other papers. Court refuses move to seek final forfeiture of Saraki's Lagos properties, vacates forfeiture order on Odua's assets. Nigeria's economy to contract by 3.2% as global economy shrinks by 5.2%, according to the World Bank. Buhari delays gazetting of Executive Order 10, granting autonomy to state legislature judiciary. Let me wrap with this one. It says at the top here, infectious diseases bill suffers setback. Judge withdraws from suit. And that's what I have on the cover of the Nigerian Tribune. Now there's the Daily Sun here, and it says, Edo, major crisis hits APC Guba primary. Courts to hear arguments Thursday. No need for emergency NEC meeting, say APC. On COVID-19, Abia governor, 6 NDDC staff isolated after testing positive. Pages 26, 28, and 29, as well as 6, have more information on that. Journalist, health worker, pastor, 41 others also in Ondo. Schools won't open yet, says federal government. And let me see. IGP unveils measures to curb rape, domestic violence, others. And students, youth council, CSOs march in Ibadan against rape, gender-based violence. That's what we have time for on the headlines in the dailies. That was the cover of the Daily Sun. And yes, we'll be taking them again in the second hour of the show. But for now, we have to take a quick break. There's still so much more on Wake Up Nigeria. Now, I wanted to say that the title of that segment, Daily Vulnerables, the word vulnerable, it's used in many different ways. And of recent, a lot of people have been protesting to sort of defend the vulnerable. Different parts of the world. And there are some cases where people don't actually appreciate or even acknowledge that they are or could be vulnerable at any point in time.
Yeah.
So because of the color of your skin, you're vulnerable to, God forbid, vulnerable to some kind of attack. And so there are other things that people are battling in their minds that make them vulnerable to things like heartbreak or, just peer pressure or even just, feeling like they're not good enough in general. But now to top it off with being vulnerable just because something you cannot even handle, your skin color just happens to be darker than someone else's. That's another level of vulnerability.
There's been the discussion now that, okay, so the police officers that were involved in George Floyd's case have been charged, right? the head honcho has been his charges have been upgraded, and and the issue is why are people still protesting? But you see, it's more or less like George Floyd's issue was just maybe. It was
what broke the camel's back.
It was it was that little that idiom of breaking the camel's back, like when you pack straw and pack straw and pack straw and pack straw, and the camel can take everything. But that single final piece of straw you just put might just be the one that might till things, and that is what has happened. So these are people that have held things over a long period of time. They've experienced things over a long period of time, and they have and you have to understand, the issue here is institutionalized racism. So if you are going to take something that has been institutionalized, then you have to be constant, you have to be persistent about it to make it get a change. Looting and everybody using that opportunity, no, that's very wrong. You should not do that. If you are caught and arrested, you will face the law. If you dance the tune that you set up, that's wrong. That's wrong. No, no loot.
All over the world, whenever there are cases of unrest, people take advantage of it. But then again, that also goes to say the mind of some people, and then of course the poverty line. In some places, a lot of people feel that, oh, just because they're in America that they are not poor. There are poor people in America. There are people that are poorer than, in fact, let's not even go there. But what I'm saying is, there are a lot of people that are finally feeling like they have the right to speak.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
They've been caged up for too long.
The GoFundMe for George Floyd actually has broken records.
Wow.
I think it was set at 1 million or so. I don't know. The last time I checked it, it was well over 13 million.
Wow.
I know it has increased now. So nobody goes like, oh, this is a hero, this is something. And then people try to go to dig into his past to try and show that, okay, he went to prison a number of times. No. The point was that at the point when this happened, he was not, you understand. So if the protests, as they do, my point is, even in different countries, other countries outside who say they stand in solidarity, the point is that make them peaceful. You have a right to protest. But then don't go looting. And of course, I've even seen places, we saw a lot of pictures that warmed our hearts where the National Guard was called in, which is our equivalent of the armed forces in Nigeria here. That's the equivalent in the US. National Guard was called in. And in some cases, they joined in the protest. So they walked the lines, There was this this video that was trending, and and the National Guard, he was stopping people from being violent, but he was also saying Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, and all of that. So it was cool. It was cool. It was nice. Let's make it peaceful. We have a right to protest. Let's not go overboard.
There have been protests happening. One was happening in Abeokuta, in Lagos, and
Abeokuta.
Yes, here.
What are they protesting for in Abeokuta?
No, I'm talking
Black Lives Matter.
No, not Black Lives Matter. Come on, Mike. Talking about
but people were protesting
against violence, violence against women.
Exactly,
rape,
exactly.
Now, I've been hearing a lot of people say, it's too much. Why are they still talking? I don't want to hear. These cases have been happening back to back for decades. There's some women that have stories of, okay, so let me give you a case scenario here. While I was on the radio, there was a weekend I was on air, and there was a really heavy torrential rain in Lagos. It was one of those rains where some parts of Lagos were flooded up to your hips. And I got a phone call on the radio from a young girl, and she introduced herself, and she said she was 15 years old. And I said, oh, so how are you doing this weekend? She said, Auntie Titi, as I'm standing here now, I'm standing in the middle of water outside my house. I said, okay, why are you standing in the water? Why not go back inside? She said she's running from her mom's new husband, that apparently he was trying to attack her, that he had been trying to rape her. Every time her mom goes out, he would try, and today that it was raining, that the guy was really, really coming for her. So she went out into the rain, and she was standing in flood water just to escape this man. So that was her own way of defending herself, escaping. So these things happen, and people just keep quiet about it. I know of a particular lady who used to actually make it her duty to find a way to get these rapists charged. And she said they would go into, if they arrest them on Monday, by Wednesday they were out.
It's one of the hardest cases.
It's one
of the hardest cases to prosecute. It's one of the hardest because at times gathering evidence is a very major problem. You see, but I was doing some research and I read some things, and you see, if it does ever happen, the first thing a lady should do, or a person that is involved in that situation, is get to the hospital first. Okay. Because that is where you can get evidence and it can be stored. While you're in the hospital, you make a phone call or somebody there goes to contact the police station, because as soon as you can, you know, because there's a lot more technicalities, there's
something called a rape kit. There's something called a rape kit. Good hospitals should have them, and police stations should have them. I don't know if they're in every single police or not. I can't say. But that kit is what they use to gather the evidence. But the only reason why I believe many women don't want to go that far is because even the process of getting that evidence is humiliating.
And the stigma. I had a friend, a lot of people, this triggered them. I go on Facebook and different places, and you have a lot of people who start telling their stories, and you start feeling for these women who, you know, they've kept something back in their past, and then something little triggered it. And as much as it's important that, you know, some of them get released from telling their stories, accusing someone wrongly, it's now serious. You don't do that. Yeah. Don't do that. If, you know, you make it harder for the ones who have real cases.
Okay, that's where I wanted to go.
Make it harder.
Yes. So there are those who cry wolf, but my own view has always been, I would always side the woman first. I don't care what you say, what you do, how you explain it. If a woman comes out to say something, there was something that triggered it. Now, whatever triggered it, it could be fear, it could be hatred, it could be whatever, I don't know. But whatever triggered it, listen to the woman first. So listen, hear her out.
Yeah, sure. We'll definitely listen. But the point is that I don't use it, because we've had cases of people who came up later and say, oh, they are sorry, they didn't, it wasn't happening.
I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm saying don't shove it under the carpet.
Nobody's shoving. So we are saying that, no.
Hear her out.
Of course, you'll always be heard. And then if investigations will be carried out, you know, investigations will be carried out. When they are carried out, then we get to the root of the matter as much as is possible, you know. So please ensure that you're not just doing it for maybe clout or trying to get back at somebody. Ensure, you know, that's...
So when it comes to social media, there are a lot of things people do for clout and all that. And to be honest, if anyone does have any case that they would like to share, social media is not the place that they should be doing it. They should be getting it officially reported. That's my viewpoint. But it can be very embarrassing, demeaning for a woman to actually explain what happened.
What happened, yeah,
so
very true.
If she hears any form of, you have come again attitude, she's going to lock up and you're not going to hear anything. So especially the younger ones.
Yeah, true.
You know, so
we've heard you know, a lot of things have come to the fore this time, and we really have to look into this one as a society. We really have to. We're looking at, like you said, like we started this discussion talking about the vulnerable, the women. Most of the time, some of them are younger girls. Some of these people are pedophiles. Younger people. We need to ensure that we have laws. You know, from legislation and all of that, we have laws that protect this vulnerable in the society. We need to do better as a society. We need to protect them, because this is one that for a woman who for me is an epitome. I mean, we describe countries as they are describing the feminine gender. Yeah. You know, we tend to see they are life givers. So for the fact that they are the vulnerable in the society, we should do better and protect them.
And I have a feeling things are about to change in that
area. They will. I mean, that's why the protests, we're simple, like I said, we have protests here. When you spoke about the Abeokuta, in Ogun State, in Lagos here, different people at different points. And I like it that a number of people say, okay, social media on its own is actionable. It's an action. A lot of justice has been sought and gotten via social media. But then a number of people have taken it by themselves. I've had friends who stood up in 3s and 4s and said, okay, let me walk up to this place, let me hold a placard, let me just stand for this. Okay, some people are talking about photo ops. It doesn't matter, at least they came out and said somewhere. Someone comes up and does a photo op in front of the Lagos State House of Assembly. It's something, that photo alone, if I go there and just take the photo and go back, because Ogbeni, I don't want somebody to come and use me and do and do morning workout.
Wow.
So if I take that photo up and I put it on social media, it says something. It does say something. So yeah, it's action, and we kudos to everybody who is taking action on this.
So, so my final word before we wrap this up is, if you have young women, young people in your environment, just sit them down and have a talk with them. You know, let them know that they can reach out to you and explain if anything is going on. Now is not the time to be coy or to be hiding these issues from our young people. We need to actually talk about them.
All right, that's it. We'll just take a short recess. We'll be back. Birthday shout-outs right up next. Thank you for staying with us so far. But if you are just joining us, you're welcome. It's the second lap of a show. And of course, those of you who had been with us from the beginning, I'm sure you had a wonderful time on the first hour. And of course, this one promises to be more exciting.
Yes, it does. Now, excitement is what we're all about every single weekday. And we have to give you a warm welcome on the second lap of your favorite feel-good family breakfast show. This is Wake Up Nigeria.
Now, of course, we're here to help you get that load off, inspire you to make a 180-degree turn, of course, to achieving your set goals for the week. That's 180 if you need to. If you don't need to and you're on the path, we'll push you forward.
Yes, sir. We have loads of goals, and we're going to help you start your day off the right way with a splash of sunshine. Even though it's a bit drizzly out there, you need to remember, keep all the necessary hygiene standards, especially since the rains have come. Make sure you wash your hands as much as possible. Carry around an alcohol-based hand sanitizer and make sure you wear your face masks in public. Please, please, please maintain this lifestyle. We owe it to ourselves.
Of course, you have to stay safe. My name is Mike.
And I'm Titilaya Oyinson. Please stream the show live if you have to move around, tvcentertainment.tv, and of course Facebook Live at TVC Connect.
On our app also, you can download it Android and iOS, and also watch us anywhere in the world.
Yes, sir. Now, I mentioned it in the first hour, we're not alone. We're going to be having an amazing chef step into the studio for the first time in like 10 weeks. Our kitchen is going to be, you know, heated up again.
Of course, of course.
It's going to feel very nice and warm.
We'll get to that. We're looking forward to that one. We'll get to that one. But then, of course, there's also going to be quite a lot coming up in the second lap of the show.
Dr. Adedayo Shobamo is a Nigerian third-generation medical doctor and healthcare management consultant. With over 17 years of international experience, he'll be talking about emergency medical evacuation. It's a very big deal.
Chika Okorafor Aneke, who has over 23 years of teaching and 17 years leadership under her belt, will be here today to talk about mindful learning, practice, and paying attention and coming out of autopilot.
That's for parenting. And something else we always look forward to on Tuesdays is nutrition. Bode Agbe Davies is the creator of the Body Create method and is a certified fitness trainer and nutritional enthusiast. She'll be talking to us about understanding macronutrients. Those foods look so colorful though, I like it.
And then Nollywood actor Lydia John is an award-winning actor, presenter, and also an OAP. We'll be finding out what she's been up to in our discussion with her later on in the show.
Who is give me? My mama, you my mama. No ever for your life, your mama they call me Akpe. If you want to call me Holla, say King. You understand? Because you know when they made you laugh.
You don't wear a bag.
When they made you laugh, so when I say call me King, the problem they for inside that one. I don't understand. Even you, my own guy, they laugh.
King don't wear a
Baba, try Baba. Where are the fine for you? Oh man, no problem. Nothing happen. Stop here, you and they talk to you see the forward. Let them they worry
Oh,
okay, there's something he mentioned, which is how you want to be called, and your name does play quite
a lot.
Quite.
So
but I always have a rejoinder. But let me just keep that. Rejoinder. A caveat.
What you're called. What you're called from when you're a child, especially in Nigeria and different cultures in Nigeria.
Yeah.
It's like a kind of like a prayer. Especially in Yoruba. I'm not going to, you know, mispronounce any Yoruba names here. Don't worry, I'm not going to do that now. But there are a lot of Yoruba names that are considered a prayer. Every time they speak it, every time they call your name, they're speaking that same prayer. You know,
So,
and I think it is really deep. Then there are some names like joy, you know, and favor.
So,
those kind of names.
so me, I've wondered, and this is just me wondering. Humanity will not have all the answers, yeah.
Of course.
But I look at in foreign countries, and you see a name like Churchgate. You see a name like Woodgate. You see a name like Irongate. Or you see
those gates.
You see just gates. Or you see, you understand? Or you see Church Hill. Maybe you could see Mosque Hill or something, you know? And as much as, and we have all the wonderful names and all the prayers and all of that.
You're trying to say, where is it taking us as a society?
Partly.
Well,
partly. So as much as it is important, you see, I found out that the way we were conditioned, you know, lets us believe all those things, which is okay. It's not a problem. It's not negative in any way. But those guys, they do what is required. And look at where they are.
So you're saying they're working even though they're not given all those very powerful, prayerful names. They're working and doing really well.
So I love the Yoruba people when they give names.
Yeah.
So because if a real Yoruba father or Yoruba family, what they will say is that they don't remember the names their children were given at their naming, because it's like a book.
Yeah.
So you see a very long, and it's wonderful.
I still have, so what we did for the twins' names, imagine how many names came out for twins, 2 children.
Okay.
We emailed the names to ourselves. The list is so long, I can't even remember.
So they have names that they don't know.
Yeah, they actually do. But they're all beautiful names.
It's time for us to take the news now.
And it starts like this. Nigeria has recorded 12,000 COVID-19 cases with more than 8,000 active cases across the country. The number of patients seeking treatment have outnumbered available bed spaces in states like Lagos and Kano, perhaps because of the population. As the numbers continue to rise, the government is faced with the challenge of providing additional bed spaces. Making use of schools and hotels are some of the options government have previously forwarded, but now the Nigeria Center for Disease Control says it's considering home care for COVID-19 patients, just like in Kenya. The increasing cases of rape and sexual violence against women and even underage girls continues to dominate discussions in Nigeria, with the demands for justice getting louder. While the police is still battling to fish out the culprits who raped and murdered 22-year-old Uniben undergraduate Uwalia Omozua, and so many other cases are being reported. Amongst these, the case of Barakat Bello, who was allegedly raped and murdered in her home in Ibadan. In Jigawa, a 12-year-old girl was allegedly raped by 11 men who have been arrested and detained. Nigerians are calling for stiffer penalties for rape offenders. Some have suggested castration, while others are seeking the death penalty. The All Progressives Congress has displayed the credentials of all 6 governorship aspirants seeking the party's ticket ahead of the Edo State election. The 6 aspirants who have brought completed and submitted the party's expression of interest and nomination forms are Osage Izeyamu, Godwin Obaseki, Pius Odubu, Chris Ogenwoyi, Osaro Obazi, and Matthew Idore Keme. A statement signed by its National Publicity Secretary, Lanre Issa Onilu, said last Friday that the various submissions will be displayed at the party's National Secretariat in Abuja and in Benin City, the Edo State capital, from Monday 8th to Tuesday 9th of June 2020 for claims and objections. Meanwhile, Rivers State-born philanthropist Teen Jack Rich has advised elected public office holders to concentrate on implementing their electioneering promises to the people and play by the rules of the game. Mr. Jack Rich gave the advice in reaction to calls by some groups for politicians for him to run for governorship of Rivers State in 2023. A statement signed by his associate and Niger Delta leader Anabs Saraigbe said the philanthropist will appreciate if the politicians would play by the rules of the electoral guidelines and concentrate on governance. According to the statement, Mr. Jack Ritchie's performance in the areas of provision of potable water for the people and other infrastructural development persuaded the people that he should be given a chance to govern the state. The incumbent governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, is already in his second term and will not be contesting in the next election. And on to judicial matters, let's take it to the Federal High Court in Lagos, which declined to grant the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission's application for final forfeiture of 2 properties belonging to former Senate President Bukola Saraki. The anti-graft agency has claimed that the properties located in the Ikoyi area of Lagos were acquired with funds allegedly diverted from the coffers of Kwara State while he was governor. But Justice Mohammed Liman stated in his ruling on Monday that while the EFCC had made a strong showing of strange transactions, the anti-graft agency needed to call witnesses to prove that the funds were proceeds of fraud. The judge also dismissed Dr. Saraki's preliminary objection that the fresh suit was an abuse of court processes because it contained the same facts on which he was prosecuted before the Code of Conduct Tribunal and discharged and acquitted up to the Supreme Court. The case continues on 29th of September. And that's it for the news updates for this hour. Mike has a sports update for us right now. Welcome back. It's about time for me to take a look at the headlines in the dailies. And I'm starting with the Nation newspaper at this point. It says here, government worried about breach of rules by churches, mosques. Nigerians still at risk of coronavirus infection. It also says here 60% of the 907 deaths in 8 Kano councils COVID-related. There's a quote here. It says, we urge our religious leaders and the entire populace to adhere to the guidelines issued by the PTF and the protocols agreed by the state officials, or rather the state governments. The story starts there on the cover and wraps up on page 5. Now, there is a breakdown of the global cases of COVID-19. It says here, so far, 7,161,517 cases have been recorded. It also says here that so far, 407,210 people have passed away. Some good news, 3,499,299 people have recovered. Meanwhile, the cases in Nigeria have risen, contrary to what some people believe. Now it is at 12,801 cases officially recorded of COVID-19. And so far, 361 people have died. So that is a breakdown there, so that those that are probably not walking around with their masks on and cleaning their hands are aware the numbers are still there. Top of the page there, it says ex-US director at AFDB backs Adeshino. He deserves another term, it says. And NDDC says senator used 11 firms to get 3.6 billion naira worth of jobs. No link with companies. That's what we have on the cover of The Nation. I have the Punch newspaper here with me as well, and it says 50% of Kano's 979 strange deaths caused by coronavirus, says federal government. COVID-19 pandemic just beginning in Nigeria, declares PTF. Southeast should have more cases over residents' mobility, say the NCDC. Assembly to summon Fayose over Ekiti finances. Father of 3 jailed for duping American ladies. Akeredolu supporters accuse aspirants of doctoring register. Federal government declares Friday, June 12th, Democracy Day holiday. Nigerian returnees to pay for airfares, accommodation, says federal government. And I'll wrap with this one. It says doctors to begin nationwide strike next week. That's what we have on the cover of the Punch. I'm moving on to the Guardian newspaper right now. It says illegal gold mining rips Nigeria off forex revenue. Nation's gold dominates Dubai markets, say the NMGS. How illegal mining paralyzes agricultural activities. Chinese engaging in illicit price competition, says MAN. We are investing to dismantle Nigeria, IPOB warns presidency. Members predict fresh manhunt as Ohaneze cautions federal government on backlash. And moving to the bottom of the page here, it says Buhari nominates Dongban Mensen as substantive appeal court president. And drunken police sergeant kills colleague in Lagos. That's what we have on the cover of The Guardian. I have the Nigerian Tribune here, and it says schools reopening. Federal government meets WAEC, NECO, NABTEP. 60% of the 979 Kano mysterious deaths due to COVID-19, according to the federal government. Reps demand reports on 83 billion naira approved by presidency for PTF. Akeredolu laments rapid rise in cases in Ondo, and Edo records 5 new deaths. Meanwhile, at the top of the page there, it says infectious diseases bill suffers setback. Judge withdraws from suit. And it also says court refuses move to seek final forfeiture of Saraki's Lagos properties. Vacates forfeiture order on Odua's assets. And that's what we have on the cover of the Nigerian Tribune. Welcome back. Now it's been too long since we've had some real activity in the kitchen. The kitchen is back. Woo! Okay, feels like things are getting back to normal in the studio. Little by little, inch by inch, we're getting closer to having the show back to normal. We're starting with Chef Toluwani, and she is of Tasty Paradise.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Thanks, Mom.
All right, so honestly, it's great to have someone in the kitchen already, but I know you've probably been through some, you know, COVID-19 blues of your own,
Obviously.
right? The lockdown blues.
Sure, yeah.
So how has it been? How has it been?
Well, actually, for me, it's been great because over the COVID-19, I had to do lots of online training.
Oh,
and,
okay.
You know, from there, I got the idea of, you know, starting up my cooking, my brand, like starting to, you know, food delivery and all that. I wasn't even going to think about that if this COVID-19 didn't happen, so.
Wow, so it sort of spurred you on to think of other things to do.
Exactly.
All right.
For me.
Well, one thing about having chefs as friends now, you know that during COVID-19 lockdown, there's going to be food in their house.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
But I guess this is one of the delicacies you probably made while you were at home a lot.
Of course.
So explain to us what we're making today.
Okay, today we're making ewa going.
A nice way to come back.
Yeah.
Ewa going. Yes. Now, let's talk about the ingredients that we have right here.
Okay. I have the beans here.
Okay.
And the salt. This goes for just the beans. Then the sauce, we're going to be using this dried chili.
Okay.
And this ginger is essential. Then the onions. Yeah.
So you say ginger is essential?
Yes.
Okay.
It's essential. It gives it the smell, the taste that you really want to like mix the going sauce. Else you're missing out.
Okay, so let me take the ingredients one more time. We have salt, beans, Maggi, chilies, dried chilies, ginger, essential, onions, palm oil, crayfish, and seasoning. I can't see the crayfish here. Where did you hide the crayfish? You haven't brought the crayfish out yet.
Well,
not to worry. Not to worry. I know we'll see it later.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing about beans is that, you know, I kind of avoid picking beans because of all the, you know, the skins and all that taking time to cook.
Okay, yeah.
You know, it's always so interesting when I see beans as clean as this. Is there any particular type of beans that we should buy for ewa going?
Well, I feel like there is this whiteness of beans like is expected from ewa going. So you want to go for oloyin or the white beans, which is fine.
Sorry, say that one more time, you said? Say it again. Say it again.
I said, like, there's this whiteness that you expect from ewa going. It's supposed to
So
be
you
have
don't
this
want it to be too brown.
Yes.
So anytime I'm buying the beans, I should look for the type that is like
White.
the
like
lightest
close,
I can
yeah,
find.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fantastic. All right. So now, what's the first thing you want to do?
Okay. The first thing I would do is to boil our beans because it takes time. So.
Okay. All right. Let's
Want
get
to do
the
that.
pan out.
Yes.
And
please.
while we're prepping for that, we're going to take the ingredients one more time. So the ingredients for ewa are going, very
Can you
simply
just
put,
stick it?
beans, onions, dried chilies, ginger, stock cubes, onions. Let me take it. Okay, we have butter seasoning, agege bread here, ugu, onions, seasoning, and chopped pepper. So now the only ingredient I'm looking at there that is alarming me is the ugu. So
Okay, yes.
you mentioned ugu on this
Yeah.
list. Like, really? Ugu, really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, tell us more.
I want to make it like a side, like vegetable.
Okay, a side
More
veg.
like steamed veg. Because most times when I cook, I always like to look for something so nutritious about the food. So when it comes to this vegetable, it's just to make sure that she gets a nutrients from the food you're eating.
All right, great, fantastic. As long as we're going to be tasting it here in the studio, I'm good. I'm all good. It's great to have you. So now we're going to put the beans
Yes.
on the heat now. Is there any special way you treat the beans after you put it on the fire? What else do you put in?
I parboil the beans because of dirt, and you really don't know where it's coming from.
All
so
right.
you want to be sure.
All right, so while we're doing that, we're going to hand it over to Mike Messikeno. He's standing by on the couch.
Thank you. All right, so it's time, of course, for our health discussion this morning. Dr. Adedayo Shobamowo is a Nigerian third-generation medical doctor and healthcare management specialist and consultant. Of course, he has with over 17 years of international healthcare business experience. Now he has executed numerous innovative healthcare infrastructure projects and financing solutions. And today, we're talking about emergency medical evacuation. Hello, doctor.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
How are you doing?
I'm fine. It's a new day.
It is. It is.
Forward.
Okay, just before we go straight to our health discussion, yesterday into today, we were woken with some root shock that some doctors might probably be going on strike very, very soon. Why is that?
Well, unfortunately, it's just a historical problem, which is the fact that over the years, the government has signed different agreements, for doctors, mostly bordering on benefits, mostly their salaries and allowances. And each time a new government comes, they sort of renege on old agreements. So it's just this whole back and forth each time. I mean, it's really sad for the sector, especially in a period like this where frontline workers are very critical. It's really sad, but until those agreements are honored, it will always be like this.
And considering that there is the capacity to do that and it's not being done, I think that's why the doctors you are all going on this. But then, okay. Wonderful. So today we're talking about medical emergency evacuation, and now let's try to look at it in two ways. In light of the pandemic at this point, because I think that procedures or modus operandi will be different in light of this pandemic and in other normal circumstances of different health emergencies. Am I right to say so?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
Okay, good. So let's.
I mean.
Yeah, go ahead, doctor.
Also, what I was going to say was, so prior to the pandemic, if you wanted to sort of be evacuated in an emergency, all you needed to do was basically just have a service provider who would bring an air ambulance, a helicopter, and basically evacuate you to wherever you chose to go. But with the pandemic now, there are two issues. So there's the issue of getting a clearance to either go within Nigeria or even to leave the airspace. And then for your destination, you also need clearance fly into that country. So it's more difficult now.
All right, and as health, the health sector in Nigeria is one that has really been ignored for a very long time, should I say, or not given as much attention as should be given. How would you rate our emergency evacuation services as a country, looking at our health sector? How far down the road are we? How much further do we need to go? Where exactly do you think we are?
To be honest, in terms of emergency response, we're still at a very, I'll say, basic and rudimentary stage. I mean, over the years, especially the past, I'll say 5 years, we've seen more effort, especially from the government. So that's the federal and state governments. So you have the different emergency sort of response organizations. But in terms of looking at the scale of Nigeria, both in terms of size and population, what we have is still grossly inadequate. And most of the sort of interventions we've seen have been led by the private sector. And I think that's just not peculiar to health. If you look at most industries in Nigeria, the private sector just tends to lead, and then sometimes government is forced to wake up and catch up, or sometimes it's just the private sector. So right now, there's still a lot of work to do. So much to do.
Okay, so what can be done? Let's look at panacea for this problem. What can be done? Because as much as the health is about the most important thing, one of the most important things in the nation, health care is really a problem. What can be done?
So it's a good question. So I try to look at things holistically and not just looking at them in silos. So the first thing is, on the policy level, there has to be a clear policy sort of direction from the government saying that, you know what, healthcare emergency is a priority, and then 2, there has to be funding allocated for this sector. So right now, we don't even have enough sort of expenditure or budget for healthcare services as a whole, not to talk of emergency services. So just to sort of break it down, 3 areas need strengthening. One is the policy and strategic direction. Then you have, of course, your financial commitment to such an initiative. And 3 is the human resource needed. So you need highly skilled personnel, doctors, nurses, paramedics, and the other members of an emergency team. So it's a lot of work.
Okay, so Doctor, now something I wanted to mention is this. Do we in any way have some sort of data when it comes to emergency situations that went south, like per se situations of maybe patients that died that could have been saved, or issues that degenerated into worse conditions when it comes to emergency medical evacuation? Do we have some sort of data to kind of stir us up? Is there any data as such available to us in the country?
So the problem with data in Nigeria is 2 things. So one is generally not enough data is collected. And even when it's collected, most times it's not aggregated. So you just have different pockets of data spread around different parts of Nigeria. But in terms of aggregation, it's really hard. I mean, I know the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, NBS, has over the years done a lot of brilliant work. But in terms of what you're asking for, we don't have any central repository to show that, you know what, this is what's happening in terms of evacuation. But I mean, with different incidents, we've seen over the years that it's a big problem. And what comes to mind for me are the different air crashes we've had over the years. I mean, the issue with the Dana airline that crashed a few years ago, I mean, that was really sad because according to people who are on ground, I mean, the passengers were there and basically just screaming and crying for hours before they could be evacuated, which is just really sad, very, very sad.
Doctor, thank you very much for spending this time with us. But let's hopefully something can be done. We are in a medical emergency pandemic. Let's hope that something can be done and your pleas, the pleas of the enemy are listened to, so that we don't have your members and you going on strike. Thank you very much for this time, Doctor, and wishing you all the best.
All right, then. Have a nice day.
Thank you, and you too. All right, that's it. Healthcare, they are about the real heroes that we know now. I mean, a number of us know the Avengers and all of that. Where are they? The ones we can see now are medical healthcare workers. Thank you for doing the job you're doing. Let's hope that the government can sort this out and that imminent strike is averted. We'll take this short break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back with more. Now, in our society, being a teacher isn't ranked as a very glamorous or prestigious career as it may be, but Chika Okorafor Anike is redefining what it means to be a teacher. Now, she has over 23 years of teaching experience and 17 years of leadership under her belt. Now, today we'll be talking about mindful learning, practice, paying attention, and coming out of autopilot. Hello, Chika.
Yes.
Hello, Chika. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so thank you for joining us this morning. I want to clearly get our topic today. I hope I reeled it out quite well. What exactly are we talking about this morning?
So this morning we're talking about mindful learning and paying attention and coming out of autopilot.
Good.
We often forget that we're human beings and that we're human and have become human doings, and everything is so fast that we really need to learn to slow down and pay more attention.
All right, good. So before we go into it, what do you mean when you say autopilot? Are you talking about the kids or the parents? What exactly do you mean, first of all, by the topic before we delve further into it?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you then.
Okay, now I was talking about when you say coming out of autopilot. Is that for the parents? What exactly do you mean before we go straight into the topic? What exactly do you mean by that?
Okay, so autopilot is when we're doing things and we don't even realize we've done them. We may be driving to work and we've got to work and we can't even really remember the journey, coming out of the house and forgetting, or thinking, did I lock the door? You know, and children are also learning to be in autopilot, so they're not paying attention to what's going on around us. And with so many things going on in the world today, we need to pay more attention.
Okay, so let's get straight to it. What's the first step? How do we come out of this autopilot?
Okay, one of the first things is a wonderful practice, and it's as easy as stop. You know, to actually stop what you're doing as long as it's safe to do so. Take a breath, observe your thoughts, your feelings, and any sensations in your body. And allow yourself some time. It could be anchoring with your breath. Just become aware of where you are now in the present moment. And then this could just be for a few seconds or a minute. And then you proceed a little bit more mindfully, because you've all of a sudden become aware. You notice things you haven't noticed before. You hear things you haven't heard before. And it's really very empowering to become more aware and present.
Now, this stop and start that you're talking about, what exactly are the benefits of having such an exercise or taking such an action?
Okay, well, mindfulness in itself and mindful learning has some amazing health and well-being benefits. It can, just in those moments when you're doing a practice, actually lower blood pressure. It can alleviate if you're, feeling any irritability, and, bringing some comfort back to yourself, some compassion, self-compassion and kindness. It can also help you to be more focused, pay more attention, to actually be more productive, because you've allowed yourself a moment to think about where you are, how you're feeling, and maybe what you need at a particular moment.
All right, so paying attention. Now, that is something that connotes very conscious work. You know, it's not something that you can do just subconsciously, something that you have to be conscious about, paying attention and all of that. In spite of all that we have, the other things, especially if you're living in a city like Lagos, the hustle and the bustle, that is quite something that a number of people will tell you that time is really a problem for them when it comes to doing this. How important is that, and how can they make time if time is such an excuse?
Okay, the wonderful thing with mindful learning is it can be done in any way, just by what we're doing, by going about our daily lives. It's one of the first things we often teach is to have an anchor. So it could be breathing. Just to be able to just tap into your breathing. It could be an object that you pick up or something that you see that just in that moment helps you to just slow down and become aware and to pay attention. And the more you do it, like anything, the more you practice, the easier it becomes. And, you know, we're not telling you to do something out of the ordinary. We don't tell you to sit down, cross-legged, you know, yoga position, meditation. But that conscious awareness that you are able to do just with anything you're doing. You could be walking and all of a sudden tap into, oh, let me actually be aware of walking. How does it feel? How does my body feel? Where can I feel the ground? As simple as just stopping where you are. Stopping what you're doing. All of these things help you to practice consciously becoming, paying attention and becoming aware.
So my question is this: for a number of people that I know, they will give an excuse of time. How important is this for them to try and make out time? Some people will give an excuse of time. That's what I'm talking about now. People that want to say, okay, I don't have the time for this. How important is it for them to make out time?
We always think nowadays that there's never enough time, but the only time we have is here and now. So you have to make that time. You know, we always think we're so busy doing. We always think we're striving, but actually if we don't try and do as much as we're trying to do, we become more productive because the time we're actually using, we're firing on all cylinders, not, you know, mind thinking here, okay, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do in the next hour. I'm thinking about what I should have done the hour before. Here and now is very powerful. We have to be aware of the present moment.
All right, thank you very much. This was Chika. This was quite expository, and I feel like we could continue this, and there's quite a lot to learn from this. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. All right, okay, that's it. I hope you're able to pick one or two things from there. But let's head over to the kitchen now and see how far they've gone with what is happening there.
Yes, the kitchen is buzzing once again. If you're just tuning in, yes, the kitchen is back. The kitchen is back. Yes, we have our first chef in the kitchen after about 10 weeks of, you know, going, you know, COVID safe. But we're still staying safe. We are. Yes, we are. Yeah. And we have Chef Toluwani here. She's from Tasty Paradise.
Yes.
What are we making today?
Today we're making a wagoin with the sauce and then steamed vegetables. And
steamed vegetables. Okay, yeah. So for those that missed the ingredients, of course, we have beans on the menu with agege bread. Croutons. And we have croutons, agege bread croutons. Yeah. We also have some ugu leaf here, some pepper, some stock cubes, palm oil, of course, salt, chili, beans, onions, stock cubes, ginger, palm oil, crayfish, and seasoning. Yeah. So, so far, we've started the process of boiling the beans. So how long, essentially, does it take for the beans to soften?
Actually, depends. There are different kinds of beans.
Okay.
Some take a longer time than usual, but let's say between 40 to like an hour.
Okay, 40 minutes to an hour. Yeah. You should get to the right texture. Yes. So is there anything you add to the beans?
Yes, the beans, you can actually add a corn. There is corn, you know, corn. Yeah, corn, so it helps it to cook faster, like it fastens the rate at which it cooks. Then you can add onions. I added onions to this to give it more flavor.
So let's show everyone what it looks like if we can.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so that's what we're looking for. We want it on that temperature, and we want it looking like that. So what's the next thing we're doing in the kitchen as quickly as possible?
Yes, please. I want to like start up with the stew. Okay. But because this palm oil takes, like, you need to bleach it. Okay. And so it might take a while. So I'm gonna just do this and cover it up because I don't want the smoke to get everywhere. Okay. So while I do that, I'll just cut the vegetables and get the steamed veg ready.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
So this is just a local ugu leaf. That's
yes,
pumpkin
you can
leaf.
actually use any vegetable. You can use the green. You can use spinach. You can use any vegetable is fine. Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Anything else being added to the ugu?
Yes, I'm gonna chop this pepper and some onions goes in there and just that.
I can see like a pepper mix here. What's inside this?
Yes, the dried chili and the ginger. I blended them together already, so it's actually going to the sauce.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to put this here.
Fantastic. So you just lightly diced those ugu leaves, nothing too fine. You know, you didn't really make it that small.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be small.
So what's next?
Yeah, I'm going to jam this and chop my. I'm going to jam this and chop my.
Beautiful. So it's time to cut the pepper. And whenever it's time to cut pepper, for those that know me personally, they know I run away. So we're going to take a break while I dash away from this pepper matter. Now we have about 45 minutes left to spend with you, but we're going to make sure every second counts.
Now, as always, it only gets better here on out, as there's no letting down on how far we can go when it comes to ensuring that every second is worth your while.
I couldn't have said it any better. We're here to ensure that every single morning you wear a smile, a 100-meter smile on your face. And of course, now it starts at 6 a.m. every single weekday, Monday through Friday. So you need to make sure you make it a day with us. My name is Titilayo Oyinsan.
Mike Messikenor is here. Stream with us live, tvcentertainment.tv, on Facebook at TVC Connect.
Now we're here for your comments. We live for them. We love them. We love to hear what you have to say, what you have to share, the advice you give us. Sometimes the prayers, sometimes they do so pray for us on social media. I love it. We love it here.
We do.
Use our hashtag though. Wake Up Nigeria on TVC.
And also, if you are on the go, you can also download our app to watch us anywhere you are around the world.
Okay, so now, for those that missed it as much as we did, our kitchen is back.
It is. Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
Goodness me.
Wow.
It's been too long.
Is that bread, agege bread?
Yes, so it's agege bread.
It's a crime to use knife to cut agege bread.
Wow.
Chef, you know that it's bad omen.
You're supposed to tear the bread.
If you use agege knife, it's when there's agege bread, please don't come, I say agege knife, don't come with knife near bread. If you do it, the gods
will get angry.
The gods are going to be angry. So, but because of this is Wake Up Nigeria, the chef is permitted.
Thank
but
you.
We're
wherever
being touche here.
Yeah, wherever and whatever you are doing, please don't get knife near agege bread. That is a premonition. It's bad luck.
Please.
It's bad luck. But
it's great.
But that bread is standing in for agege bread. That bread does not look the surface tension and the pressure that I can see in that bread is not.
Anytime food is happening,
it's not agege like.
Sometimes Mike just turns to another person. I'm always wondering.
I wish I can eat more now.
Eat more?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to eat more now? Really?
Oh no, there's some pizza. There's some pizza. Let's just let it at that. But yeah, really, I do wish. But you know, I get better than I'm going. Memories, you know.
School memories. Speaking of school, you know, there's a hashtag that's been trending.
Okay.
Is it school resuming or school back to school? No, I can't remember it. But it's just all about schools coming back online. Offline rather.
Offline, by the way.
So everybody's been doing the online schooling thing. Everybody's been feeling relaxed. You don't really get to see your lecturer, so you're not really afraid of him much. You know that feeling of you see the lecturer coming and you're like,
the point now.
Arrange yourself.
True. The point is that, like we said, there's a new normal. Now, a lot more schools will incorporate virtual learning.
Yeah.
That is where we are now. And then it will get to the point whereby virtual learning will translate to holograms. So in such a way that a teacher, you've seen in the movies, Avengers, where you have a board meeting and everybody's present in their own place, but you can see them, not via a conferencing app or something, but everybody's there as an exact physical or how do I put it now? As an exact, the virtual is like a physical representation of the person right there. That's what, so a hologram. So where you have your lecturer who will be right in front of you, it will happen.
Yeah,
and you just it's a light image hologram. The person's teaching you, and you are there receiving.
Of a Harvard lecturer. If I can find it. So they had, so the lecture theater is now an arc of screens. So about 25 to 30 screens arced around the lecturer. And the lecturer is facing all these screens teaching, and the students are on every screen, like a Zoom meeting, but in an arced amphitheater format.
I did see that video. I did see that video. That's the present. The future, very, very close. Holograms.
Yeah.
Holograms. And that's what happened with.
But I actually like it because if, for instance, schools in Nigeria are notoriously expensive. I'm going to say notoriously considered expensive, especially if they're trying to push the envelope, because there are extra bills. They always make sure the gen is on. The teachers, if you want good teachers in the school, you have to pay them extra, etc., for so many different reasons. But my issue now is if you offer the online learning opportunity for parents, it gives them a cheaper option. So right now, there's some parents that just can't afford those big bills. But instead of letting them go to a cheaper school, why not just offer them the online option from your school?
So for now, I would say that for the
affordable price.
I'll round up with saying that for the virtual learning, it will go pari passu with offline. So it is not going to be fully virtual. That cannot be integrated, especially in these climes at this point. Sure. But side by side, pari passu, they will.
All right. Well, it's time for us to take the news updates at this point. Now, Nigeria has recorded over 12,000 COVID-19 cases with more than 8,000 active cases across the country. The number of patients seeking treatment have outnumbered available bed spaces in states like Lagos and Kano, perhaps because of the population. As the numbers continue to rise, the government is faced with the challenge of providing additional bed spaces. Making use of schools and hotels are some of the options government have previously forwarded, but now the Nigeria Center for Disease Control says it's considering home care for COVID-19 patients, just like in Kenya. The increasing cases of rape and sexual violence against women and even underage girls continues to dominate discussions in Nigeria, with the demands for justice getting louder. While the police is still battling to fish out the culprits who raped and murdered 22-year-old Uniben undergraduate Uwalia Omozua, so many other cases are being reported. Amongst these is the case of Barakat Bello, who was allegedly raped and murdered in her home in Ibadan. In Jigawa, a 12-year-old girl was allegedly raped by 11 men who have been arrested and detained. Nigerians are calling for stiffer penalties for rape offenders, and some have suggested castration, while others are seeking the death penalty. The All Progressives Congress has displayed the credentials of all 6 governorship aspirants seeking the party's ticket ahead of the Edo State election. The 6 aspirants who have brought completed and submitted the party's expression of interest and nomination forms are Osage Izeyamu, Godwin Obaseki, Pius Odubu, Chris Ogenwoyi, Osaro Obaze, and Matthew Udori Kemen. A statement signed by its National Publicity Secretary, Lanre Issa Onilu, said last Friday that the various submissions will be displayed at the party's National Secretariat in Abuja and in Benin City, the Edo State capital, from Monday 8th to Tuesday 9th of June 2020 for claims and objections. Meanwhile, Rivers State-born philanthropist Tien Jack Rich has advised elected public office holders to concentrate on implementing their electioneering promises to the people and play by the rules of the game. Mr. Jack Rich gave the advice in reaction to some calls by some groups and politicians for him to run for governorship of Rivers State in 2023. A statement signed by his associate and Niger Delta leader Anab Sarah Igbe, said the philanthropist will appreciate if the politicians would play by the rules of electoral guidelines and concentrate on governance. According to the statement, Mr. Jack Rich's performance in the areas of provision of potable water for the people and other infrastructural development persuaded the people that he should be given a chance to govern the state. The incumbent governor of Rivers State needs to govern the state. The incumbent governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, is already in his second term and will not be contesting the next election. And on to judicial matters, let's take it to the Federal High Court in Lagos, which declined to grant the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission's application for final forfeiture of 2 properties belonging to former Senate President Bukola Saraki. The anti-graft agency has claimed that the properties located in the Ikoyi area of Lagos were acquired with funds allegedly diverted from the coffers of Kwara State while he was governor. But Justice Mohammed Liman stated in his ruling on Monday that while the EFCC had made a strong showing of strange transactions, the anti-graft agency needed to call witnesses to prove that the funds were proceeds of fraud. The judge also dismissed Dr. Saraki's preliminary objection that the fresh suit was an abuse of court processes because it contained the same facts on which he was prosecuted before the Code of Conduct Tribunal and discharged and acquitted up to the Supreme Court. The case continues on 29th of September. And that's what we have on the news today for Wake Up Nigeria. Mike has sports update. Welcome back. Now, this is a segment I've been looking forward to. Bode Agbe Davies is the creator of the Body Create method and is a certified fitness trainer and nutritional enthusiast. Now, she's talking to us today about understanding macronutrients. So, nutrients, I understand. The macro part is, it's a bit, fizzled. So do you want to break it down? What exactly are macronutrients and why do we need them?
All right, so macronutrients essentially it makes you think that this is the big part of our nutrition, the building blocks, right? So that's why it's macro. This is where we get most of our nutrients from. And when we talk about macronutrients, essentially we're thinking about 3 things, and those are proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. Those are the 3 macronutrients.
Okay, protein, right? Carbohydrates, and fat. Okay, fantastic.
Yes. All right. So our proteins, we already know this is the one that everybody loves because we are eating high protein diets, right? And our proteins, we need to understand that they are really essential for all of the cells in our body, right? So not just muscles, but bones, hair, skin, hormones, antibodies. So proteins are like the building block of the body, and their job is really for maintenance, good health, and prevention of disease. So we need those, and we need them from good sources, from like nuts, from fish, and all of those good things. So we always hear that, eat your beans so you can grow, right? So we know that proteins are essential for that. When we look at carbohydrates, those have gotten a bad rep recently, especially because of dieting. So we hear people say, I would be slim, but I eat too many carbohydrates. But that's not necessarily true. You might be eating too much carbohydrates, but they're needed because those are your body's main source of energy. Your body's preferred source of energy is from glucose, which we get from carbohydrates. But the thing to note is you want to get your carbohydrates from good sources, so from whole grains, from fruits and from vegetables, your potatoes, your carrots, your beets, your beans again, and stuff like that, rather than from fast foods and pastries and baked goods all the time. And then the last one will be your fats, which also get a bad rep, but we also need fats because those are really essential for absorption of minerals and vitamins in the body. Those help to stabilize your blood sugar levels and all of those good things. Again, what we need to be mindful of is getting these from good sources. So rather than getting fats from highly processed foods, where the oils used in those cases are full of trans fats and all of those, you want to get them from healthy sources like olive oils. Again, you want to get them from your nuts, you want to get them from fish. You want to reduce your sources from things like butter and cheese, and get them mostly from, all these good oils, your coconut oil and your palm oil and things like that. So macro, because that's where most of our nutrients come from, and just always remembering to get them from good, healthy, natural sources.
Okay, so you've broken down what exactly they are, and those are basically the nutrients that we're, almost always in contact with on a daily basis. But why is it that even though a lot of our meals do contain a lot of these macronutrients, why is it that a lot of us still end up having poor diets?
Okay, so one big reason for that is the way we prepare. So there are 2 things. One is the way we portion these things. maybe 3, the way we portion them, the sauces, and how we prepare these foods. So, for instance, you see a lot of us get these things in our diet, but when you look at the way we make our meals, we do a lot of deep frying, right? And we do a lot of deep frying with actually the wrong kinds of oils. The oils that most of us use are oils that have trans fats in them. So when you look at deep frying on a big level and the general type of oils we have in our houses, and we use those types of vegetable oils, they have trans fats in them. And trans fats actually have been linked to a lot of health diseases. So when we're looking at preparation, one of the things I always tell people to first of all get rid of is deep frying. You have to get rid of all of that deep frying.
So you're saying
I should get rid of unhealthy sources of oil.
So you're saying I should throw away my deep fryer? You're saying I should throw away my deep fryer?
Oh yeah, I threw away my deep fryer a long time ago. So please, Titi, I will come to your house. Go throw away that deep fryer. Get an air fryer.
Okay, so air fryer is better then.
You don't even need to be dipping anything. Just use little oil, healthy sources of oils. But yes, get rid of that deep fryer. You have to. You honestly have to. So like I said, preparation, then the sauces. Where exactly are we getting the oils from? Are you getting your carbs from something like beans? Are you getting it from your fruits? Are you mostly getting it from donuts and pizzas and stuff like that, right?
So
pastry, this is why we have poor diet.
You've pinpointed pastry as one of those, you know, you've mentioned pastry like twice now. What is it about pastry that makes it one of the poorer sources of these macronutrients?
So it's the white flour content. And really, like, I have some white flour in my diet, but it's not every day. But then lots of people have it every day. It's the white flour. It's the combination of the salt and the fat that is used to bake these goods that keeps us hooked on them. So if you're buying mostly pastry, the person who made that isn't really thinking about your health. And so they're not using the healthiest source of fat or butter or margarine there. They're using something that probably has trans fat in it because it's cheaper to get their hands on. So that isn't very healthy for you. If you're baking from home and you're more aware of these things, you might choose higher quality sources of your fats and all of those things. But if it's mostly bought, which is what tends to happen with most of us, it has trans fat in it, all of that high white flour content, and that's the problem with pastry.
Okay, all right.
And then of course, if it's some stuff like small chops, again, deep frying then comes into the equation as well. So it's just
deep fried pastries. That's what small chops are, deep fried pastries.
Exactly.
So now we're covering macronutrients. I want to talk a little bit about the proteins. So a lot of people are big fans of beef, and you know those fatty meats, the red meats especially. In fact, there's some places you go that if someone orders food and then there's no beef in it, it's a problem. Can you tell us about it's protein, right? It's protein. So why is it so bad?
So there's a lot of debate on meat, and there's lots of research going on. So there's lots of things we can talk about. But one of the things I would say is first is the type. So there's been a lot of research going into how these meats are raised, how these animals are raised, and the things that are used to raise them. And there's lots of controversy about that. There's also, like I said, the amount that we eat. So traditionally around here, we like meat. We like to see meat in our soup. And there's research that shows an increase in all these health diseases with the amount of animal protein that people eat, right? So those are some of the things. It's the source, it's the quantity. Again, preparation. You know, we like to fry it. We like to cook it in soups that have a lot of oils and unhealthy oils in them. So with meat, really, those are some of the issues that go on there. It's too much meat. It's from not the most organic. So we hear people talking about having more organic sources of meat, but here it's hard to know what sources of your meat are organic and what are not. So I know that there are a few people now coming up with more organic sources, but it's not mainstream yet. So that tends to also be a problem. So those are some of the issues with meat in general. Okay, all right. Now, I have to say thank you so much for breaking it down for us and talking to us. You were here last week and you're still here for a few more weeks, I believe. There's still so much for us to talk about. But macronutrients, that's a term that I'm more familiar with because of you. Thank you so much, Bode. Thank you for having me. I'll be back next week. Thank you. All right, then. Now, you should tell us what you think about that particular topic. Which of those nutrients do you know that you're eating the bad stuff of? Are you eating a lot of pastries? Tell us what you think you can use to replace them. Use our hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC. Now, we are heading into the kitchen, and I don't know how Mike got there, but he's standing like a security guard, like
like standing guard over that
Where's
Ewa
Mike?
going. I don't know what's going on.
Where's Mike?
You?
Me?
Yes.
No,
you.
I've changed my name. I'm Larry. I'm Larry.
You're right.
Okay, so these are waiting. What do you call it? Croutons?
Croutons, yeah.
This is the crouton is the English name, right? What's the name that if I go to somewhere I can tell
more
somebody?
like tossed bread.
Tossed bread.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bread
Okay. So what we're putting this inside our.
Yes, you eat up the pan. Like I already eat up the pan, then I added a little butter to it.
Okay.
Then I diced the bread.
All right.
And this, I chew this inside it. You can actually season this with anything of your choice. Like I'm gonna be adding black pepper to mine.
Okay. Titi, you know that there's one lady beside the gate, that filling station, that used to sell agege bread. Sure, you can just rush there, send somebody, you just rush there and let them just arrange because
this is a gourmet version of Ewa going. Gourmet. This is a very tush version of Ewa going. Not all those ones you're used to.
Please speak English.
We're not doing those ones.
Please speak English. What's gourmet is? Are we in le français or what here now? Gourmet. Okay.
No, we have to spice it up now. We have to spice things up. It doesn't have to always be the usual.
This agege bread. He wants with this thing. No wonder you're using knife. Are you see? If it was agege bread, you'll be using this knife. Okay, but what's the process you're doing now? What's this process called?
This is tossing, like this cooking process actually to toss your pan.
Okay.
So you're doing this because you don't want it to burn and you want it to cook evenly.
To cook evenly.
Yes, so you want to do this.
Is there any oil of some sort? There's no
oil.
I
said I added butter.
Butter, okay.
Yes,
so you seared.
Yes, on the pan.
Pan searing.
Yeah. You see pan searing, not beer.
It's searing, sha. Okay, so that's it. So while we're doing this, this is our
the steamed vegetable. I already did that. It doesn't take time. This is just like 1 minute, 2 minute thing.
Okay, so that I can still have that natural
exactly.
stuff and all of that. What if somebody wants to put in fresh vegetable? If I wash it well, yes, no.
Fresh vegetables
yes,
where?
No. Inside this one thing, as in without steaming.
Well, maybe.
So that
it's still more like you're having the same nutrient. So why do you want to eat it raw when you can still eat it and enjoy it and still get the value for what you want?
Okay, that's
the Ewa going sauce.
The Ewa going sauce.
Yes, it's ready.
That's a very important thing, yeah.
Yes,
all right. And our beans is also ready, right?
Yes, our beans is ready.
So the next time we're doing this, we're going to be plating, right?
Yes, we are.
Why? So this one has to be brown. I'll put it inside or something.
Yes, so that's to be. And then everything has, in fact, you really want to taste what this tastes like or what it looks like. Super delicious.
Okay. All right. While we're still arranging this gourmet, I know what's going, but we'll just take this break, and when we get back after our discussions, you'd see how we the final presentation.
Welcome back. Now we have a guest with us, coming to us via Skype this morning, and it's going to be a really interesting discussion. We have Nollywood actor Lydia John, award-winning actor, presenter, radio actor, voiceover artist, MC, public speaker. In fact, this is your CV, eh? Hey, goodness me. Now, she's made appearances on TV series such as Battleground, Final Showdown, Hush as well, I believe, and many, many more. Welcome to the show, Lydia.
Thank you.
All right then. Now, your journey in the industry must have been like, I don't know, it must have been a really interesting one because you've had the opportunity to show up in so many different movies and shows. So tell us a little bit about how your journey began.
Okay. Since you said journey, so I'm going to start from the start. I began professional theater from the age of 9, 10,
really?
Pretty early professional.
Wow.
And then went into, I grew into becoming a director in the theater and all of that. And I went into a screen late 2013.
Yeah, so I have my theater background, I have my screen background. So yeah, that's it. And it's been beautiful all the way. I've done lots of theater shows. I've done lots of screen performances from movies to TV series. And yeah, so it's been beautiful. It's been crazy as well. It's been beautiful.
I love the fact that you added crazy there, because the industry itself is not an easy one to be in. So can you share with us one or two of your crazy experiences?
Okay. I'm someone who's really passionate about my art. So I literally go extra mile, even though I know that there is no insurance in this movie thing in Nigeria, you know? So
very true.
Yeah, because I just finished a project. It's called Blood of Inoge, by Rock TV series, by Rock Station. And I played a warrior princess. And it was really physical for me. You know, I had to do physical combat at some point. And I got injured. You know, I got lots of injuries actually.
Wow.
I literally had, treat myself and all of that. And I know that lots of actors shy away from things like that because, you know, now the skin has to be all right for the next job. But
yes,
you really for this one. So, but I'm someone that if I take a job, I just put my entire self into it and deliver on it firsthand. And, you know, heal for the next one, basically. Because, I mean, nobody prepares to injure themselves, but it does happen on the job. And then one of the crazy experiences was when I was in school, doing my project and all of that stuff. And I literally had to travel to Lagos. I got a call back for a job. I went for an audition earlier. So I literally traveled from the East Anambra State to Lagos.
Wow.
And while I was back the next day, like I traveled like today for the audition the next day. After the audition, I was traveling back the third day when I got to Anambra State, to Onitsha. I got a call to say, oh, can you come back tomorrow? The director wants to see you. I'm like, I just enter a bus now, back, you know. And guess what? I had to travel the next day, you know, to come back and then go back again. Of course, I got the job, but that's how invested, you know, I am in my job.
What I'm hearing is a lot of dedication, you know, because it has to be dedication and real love for the job for you to, you know, make all those sacrifices to try and make it work. You know, the hustle is pure, is real. But you know, everyone has their own story to tell. How did you figure out that this was really what you wanted to do? You know, some people never get to make that decision, but it feels like you found it quite early.
Yeah, I did. I keep saying this, right? My mom was about 9 months pregnant or so. She had me in her stomach and she was leading a dance, you know, group. She was literally dancing. I have those pictures. So I guess, you know, I've just been in that world of performance even before I was born, you know, so like literally before I was born. And I came into the world and I realized like what drew me into professional theater is not just the fact that, oh, I love cartoons, I love movies and all of that, but the sound of the drums, because I dance as well, right? I dance as well. So I used to do ballet at some point. I do professional theater dance, you know, contemporary dance, traditional dances and all of that, you know, and hip hop as well. It was the drums from when I was a child. I remember there was this theater troupe. It's called Theater Centric. That was my first, you know, professional theater troupe. And I just hear them practicing every time. The drums. Wow. He literally just called me. He said, come, Auntie, come, don't pass in every day. Stop passing here every day without coming. And I just said, you know, I want to join these people. So I would take off my uniform from school. I'll go there with my school uniform, take it off, wear rehearsal kits, dance, act, you know, wear my school uniform back and go back home. So imagine going to school with extra mufti, like clothes in your bag.
Just
at that
because
age,
you wanted to perform.
You know, so he called me. And it's been that way like till now, you know. Yeah.
Okay, so it seems like you've had the opportunity to do so many different types of things, but what's the next level for Lydia now? What is it that you've not done? What would really interest you? So if they offered you that job right now, you wouldn't hesitate to say yes.
It's Hollywood, yo. I mean, we've done a lot of Nollywood and area. Let's try that other way.
Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood. It's Hollywood. And of course, apart from the fact that I really, really want to do Hollywood, everyone that knows me knows I'm literally a Hollywood material. Like right now, it's just them. They don't know yet. So maybe this video should get to them. It's really Hollywood material. Apart from that, I founded an initiative. It's called Better You Initiative. You know, where we reach out to the less privileged, we reach out to people and try to create a mind shift. We're trying to combat mental poverty, because I believe that the crimes that we have in the world and in the country is due to mental poverty. When you lack things like integrity, you'd say, oh, because I got hungry, that's why I went to kill someone to steal from them, you know. So it's things like that we try to eradicate, and we try to do that. We are teaching them leadership, personal and mental development, you know. So I'm passionate about teaching as well. So I extend my knowledge to people, and that's why my initiative has the teaching aspect. Apart from the fact that we give aid, you know, provide aid, food, and all of that, and we're trying to see how we can run scholarship schemes now for those that cannot afford proper education, because we believe that, you know, education has a way of setting you on the right path, you know, mentally and, you know, physically. So the society will be better off when we have, you know, people that are properly prepared to give back to the society and not, you know, give negatively by the crimes and all of that, but give back positively, give back their skill. So how would they give back their skill if they don't even have the opportunity to do that, you know? So
I have to say, I find that really admirable that you're reaching out to young people in such a way. Could you say how many people you've been able to work with on this project? How many people have you worked with so far?
It's been beautiful because we've been able to reach out to people, and we've been able to take about 300 children out on excursions. Wow. These opportunities that they would never have, you know, received because of the kind of schools they have and the kind of they lack, you know. So we're able to take them, you know, most of them first time to the cinema, and they went there, they saw a movie, popcorn. At this point, I want to say thank you to People Best Cinemas. They've been really, really, really supportive of my work. And of course, well-meaning individuals have also come, you know, to say, Lydia, John, we believe in what you do, want to help out. And that's why we've been able to do all that. Because imagine taking over, like the last one we did in December.
Amazing. It does sound amazing. I can imagine the looks on their faces when they got into the cinema, you know. I can only imagine. And I have a feeling, based on the way, the passion with which you're talking about it, you really enjoyed it and you're going to keep going after this. I have to say thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Thank you. And of course, we can't wait to see your new projects come out. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You should wait.
All right, keep that smile on your face, Lydia. Keep it on your face, please. And now there's someone else that has been smiling. He might not show you the smile now, but Mike has been smiling in the kitchen. I believe our chef is ready to serve.
All right, so myself and we put together this wonderful meal for Titi to have. And can you please tell the audience how we came to the conclusion of the matter? Because we're still settling the matter.
Please, Mike, can you socially distance yourself from my food? Please, social distancing from my food.
Say I did on my own. By myself. I talk, say I do food for Titi. Isn't that? You will just miss for me and nothing happen to the show. Nothing. No, but nothing. So just calm down.
I'm calm.
All right, so tell us.
Okay, so here we have our ewa going, then our sauce on it, drizzling on it, and here's our croutons. Instead of you having to tear the bread and you go, so this you just take here and.
All right, so this is for Titi.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's see how you do.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Mike. So are you sure you don't want to taste some?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
You sure? Last chance. After the show.
I didn't that you sure.
After the show.
If you say you sure again, it's we miss.
Okay, let me taste this. Okay.
Mix it with the sauce. Mix it with the sauce.
It reminds me of Chronicles of a Foodie. Don't worry. Well, you're all right. You're very all right. You're very okay. Let me taste the crouton, though. Yes, let me eat crouton now. It's not staying on the fork. You know what? While I fight with getting the croutons on my fork,
it's been a wonderful time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being a part of the show. Thank you so much, Chef.
Thank you, Homely NG, as well, for the kitchen accessories.
For the kitchen accessories, of course. We'll see you tomorrow, 6 a.m.
Bye.